in New York.
Oh shit! You gotta get that thing back.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I like that shirt. I think
What
people
does it
are
say?
liking
What does
it.
it say? Boba, not
Boba.
boba, and like.
Yeah. So boba is like bubble tea, tapioca. You know.
Ah. I thought it was like a Star Wars reference, like Boba Fett. I hear it. Oh,
And I'm more focused on. I have a goal, guys.
And I want to prove that Mikey can beat anyone. So I am willing to put 10,000 of my own money to bet with anyone. Let's do a challenge, you know?
Who do you want to see Mikey fight?
One wants to fight
People
you.
are scared.
Who you thinking, Chase?
We mentioned Herbert earlier. Herbert's an insane matchup.
Mano, vamos lutar eu e você.
How would you take on someone like Herbert, who's super aggressive?
He's gonna come after you.
Yeah.
Right off the bat. He's gonna come after you. How are you gonna deal with that?
Into the fire.
Wow, how about that for an intro? What a way to kick off Dave Morgan here. Welcome back, guys. It's another episode of Who's Number One, the podcast, episode 17. Getting up there in the teens. I'm joined today, of course, by my co-host and stats extraordinaire, Michael Sears. Also on the call, we have Ricardo
Amendolia, Bear from Shoei Roll, and none other than Roberto Jimenez, the young phenom taking out all the black belts. Good morning, fellas. How's everyone doing today?
Doing great. I mean, I guess the big news this week, right, is we announced the event, March 28th, the Fairmount, Austin, Texas. We have Mikey versus Herbert. It's official.
Who's number 1, 2?
Yeah.
Unofficially the name there. But
Who's number 1? Mikey versus Herbert is going to be the title. We got 5 black belt fights, including Roberto. Roberto, we just made it official last night. You're going to be fighting Jake Watson on there.
Some breaking news for you all.
Yeah, tickets are available at FloGrapplingTix.com. Just like last time, other official matches, we got Roberto and Jake Watson, Nachieli versus Anna Carolina Vieira, which is 2 number 1 ranked girls going at each other. Hibamar versus Mateus Diniz, ADCC champ versus Hibamar in the gi, and also Andressa Sintra versus Luana Alzaguir. So it's going to be good. First off, I want to kick it around. Roberto, what do you think about this Mikey Herbert match? What do you think about this thing, man?
I love it. Man, I think Mikey's gonna take us back.
You've been training a lot with Mikey. He mentioned he's only going with the heavyweights. You know, what does that look like? He shared a little bit of that with us before, but I want to hear it from the other's perspective. What's it like to train with Mikey as a bigger guy?
Man, I don't know if you've seen, a long time ago he posted a picture of both of us sitting down, and his torso is the same size as mine, and his legs are, I think, like Malfacini size, you know. So imagine having the guard of a featherweight, like rooster weight, and then the upper body to put pressure like a heavyweight. It's a good combination. I think if Mikey can hold him, whether on top or bottom, it's done for Herbert. Mikey just needs to be good mentally. Like we talked about this before and after tournaments. Like the mental is the most exciting and confusing part, I think, of growing up in jiu-jitsu. Understanding how to deal with your voices that are inside of you and your angels and demons telling you like you can do it, you can't do it, and if you can just focus on that, and like he said, focus on the person's jiu-jitsu, then you can find your answer to whatever fighter you're going against.
So you're calling the back kick. You're saying Mikey's going to get on the back.
Back, yeah.
All right, Ricardo, you were speaking. What do you got to say about this matchup, Ricardo?
I was just gonna say, Roberto Jimenez coming in hot, talking about angels and demons this Tuesday morning. This is amazing. Whoa, man, this is a match, but we getting deep. We're getting philosophical lessons
Biblical
here
out
from the
there.
Berimbolo. We're getting some biblical masters from the Berimbolo master from Ecuador. Roberto, glad to have you on here. Welcome to the Ricardo Amendolia show. Special guests Jason, Mike, and Bear. Man, this is going to be an awesome match. I can't wait to see what Mikey Musumeci is going to try to do to Herberth. And I like I said before, I want to see the best Herberth. I want to see, the Herberth come out and try to kill Mikey. And I want to see what Mikey does in retaliation to that. I want to hear Otero screaming and complaining like he does. I want to see it all. I can't wait for this match to happen. And, of course, I want to see you in your match against Jake Watson. Jake's a great guy, one of the best American black belts. So, man, I'm pumped for this Who's Number 1, second edition. Don't forget, guys, Who's Number 3, main event, me and Bear, coming soon. Date to be released very soon, guys. Stay tuned.
Bear, are you worried about your boy in this matchup? I mean, he's going against Herbert's a monster, man. Herbert's beat Galvao. He's beat Pena. He's beat Bernardo. Hamil. He's beat a lot of good guys. What do you think about this one, Bear?
Welcome, Roberto. Welcome to this show.
Thank you.
Ricardo, I wish you would have that energy when we're talking real shit and real politics in jiu-jitsu. So keep that energy, save that from when we're talking about real shit in jiu-jitsu, and I want that same energy. And then we can do our super fight together. But until then,
I'll bring it, Par.
But
I got you, Par.
Going back to Mikey and Herberth, like Roberto. Herberth's a scary guy, and he's probably one of the most exciting guys in jiu-jitsu, and he's like going out there to. So it's to watch him fight, and also, like we said, Mikey to the back. It's a high possibility. So we're going with Mikey. We're there.
Was agreed.
Before we get too far ahead of ourselves here, we should recap a little bit of the recent ongoings. Grapplefest 8 took place over the weekend there in the UK. Those guys have steadily been building up one of the fastest rising promotions across the pond. A lot of interesting results there. We had John Blank finishing Adam Warzinski in very timely fashion there, very quick sub. Dante Leon took it to the young Thai Ruotolo. Very competitive match, though, very fun match. But Dante, you could say, overpowered young Ruotolo. Cade, however, the counterpart to Ty, had a great match with Ashley Williams. Got the decision win there, and overall a very, very fun event. You guys watch any of that?
Yeah, Cade's the champ now. He won that one. I think Dante might have been. He's a big 77 guy. Like, he probably cut a bunch of weight for ADCC. I think he was a little bit big for Ty right now. He out-wrestled him and then just controlled him from the top. And if you saw Dante's back take near the end, it was basically the exact same thing Lucas Lepre did to Lachlan at ADCC. It was beautiful. He got the seatbelt from like the knee slide position and spun around to the back. It was real nice technique.
Very nice there. And then, of course, we'd be remiss not to mention Roberto's fantastic performance there at the Kansas City Open. Is it 6 for 6, Roberto? Am I correct on that? All subs?
Yeah, 6 for 6.
All subs, and taking out none other than Felipe Andrew among those names there. That is, of course, European's absolute champion, the last man to submit Keenan Cornelius.
So how many black belt matches do you have now? Is that 7 matches at black belt?
Keenan
in this tournament, right?
8.
8. So in 8 matches, you already beat both of the finalists from Euros this year. You beat Keenan, and then you tapped Felipe Andrew. That Felipe Andrew win was really impressive. Felipe Andrew's won a lot of stuff, man. Talk about that match a little bit, about getting it back and finishing, and like how you set it up, what was going through your mind, all that.
For sure. I just want to say that I think the Rutolos competing against adults at their age is fucking awesome. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I just thought about that with Grapplefest. But I was not expecting that fast. I never expect to win that fast. I hope I can, but I'm always ready for like a war. So with Felipe, I went in and I thought of the same strategy for Keenan. I didn't feel like as nervous as I did for Keenan, but with him, I just thought I can't let him play his game because he's aggressive and he's dominant whenever he's on top. So I went in and I just felt good flow. I felt good energy that day, and it just happened well for me. I mean, I guess he just didn't expect me to come in that hard. And that's one thing I've learned throughout growing up in jiu-jitsu. You can't underestimate anybody. Like, look at Mikey. That's the perfect example of not underestimating people. Everybody has a different cover to their book, and you have to be ready to see what's inside.
Ricardo, I saw you raising your hand there. You got something to add to the mayhem?
Yeah, I got two questions for you guys. Number one, Michael Sears, with Roberto submitting, the European Open's champion, where does that put Roberto in the rankings now? What number is he at now in the pound for pound and in his division? Spill the beans, Michael Sears.
I got to update his division still. I moved him up to number 6 pound for pound, which that's pretty damn good. I mean, he's ahead of some guys who won Worlds last year, but I mean, he just beat Keenan and he just beat Felipe Andrew. He tapped Felipe Andrew, the current European absolute champ, so it's warranted, And in my opinion, you got to stay with what's going on currently. And some guys haven't competed since Worlds, so Roberto passes him up. Roberto, so I think something that's key to your success so far is you're really going after guys. You're not showing these legends respect. These champion like Keenan. You went out there, you tried to berimbolo him in the initial 10 seconds, basically. Did the same thing with Felipe Andrew. Is that sort of your game plan? Like you're just going to go out there and go after these guys and go for the kill from the start to finish?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know 100% what I'm going to do until I step on the mat, but I feel like I go over my game plan throughout the training camp. I haven't really done a training camp longer than 3 weeks in my life, but I try to practice everything so I'm ready for anything that happens. And within those first 10 seconds of the fight is where you're going to determine the pace, because there's like halves, there's periods to the fight. I think this period where if you go all the way, you're going to watch out with your partner at first, but if you just avoid their story and go in all the way, start to finish, like Marcelo Garcia used to, and like his mentality of you can't stop until you finish. Same with Terere. If you pull guard, is to finish to the back, sweep, and mount. Or if you take down, is to pass to get to the back or mount and finish. So it just depends on who I fight. And the moment we shake hands, I realize what I'm going to do. But I just don't want to stop the whole fight. I want to keep going. Even if I'm tired at the end, all you need is 10 minutes to recover. So you can't be happy with winning by points, I think. Sometimes it's going to happen, but you should always look for the opportunity to take the back or hold a dominant position where you can find the submission.
Shout out to your opponent from Who's Number One, Jake Watson is in the comments right now. He's watching the show, so good morning, Jake. So Roberto, let's go all the way back to your first black belt match a little bit at Who's Number One. What did you think when you got you're going to make your black belt debut against Keenan Cornelius, against a legend like that? What are you thinking?
I was nervous, but it's the first time I felt that nervous since maybe Worlds 2018, and I was very excited. I was not expecting to win. Like I said, I don't expect anything out of my fights. I just hope the best. But with him, I felt like that could it did what it did, so it could help my career go in the right way, and I was very excited for it. I was more excited just to fight more than anything. Like I didn't really care whether to win or lose. I want to find the submission with him, but I was just excited to be on the mat and compete against him, especially considering the last time we fought, I pulled a flying armbar on him, and I think I had an adrenaline dump like never before where I just froze. He escaped, and I onto his arm and him ending up on my back and him armbarring me. Everything was within like a minute or two. So I'm very happy with the way I evolved since then, and next time we can maybe get the finish.
Hey, Roberto, I got a question for you. Technically, I'm doing a little breakdown of that match, and I'm calling it my keys to Roberto's success against Keenan. I don't want to spoil it too much, but one of the things that stood out for me was the fact that, I call it like the rebolo. Like you started off with the De La Riva sweep, got Keenan to the side. You were going for the berimbolo. And, obviously Keenan out there saying that the berimbolo is just a fad and stuff like that. But you hopped up back on top to get your 2 points. Was that like a psychological, mind game that you were trying to play with Keenan? Did you have that pre-planned? Or is it just something that was kind of spare the moment that you felt you had to do?
Spontaneous, yeah, in the moment, because I didn't think about berimbolo that much. I was thinking more to pass his guard. And once I felt it, I felt like I was moving around it pretty well. But it was like instinct. I saw his opening, and the same thing with Felipe Andrew. I saw it, and I if you see it, don't waste any time. You know, just go for it. If it doesn't work, come up, and if it works, and you got what you wanted. So it was more of a spontaneous move to throw the leg in for the dive into the berimbolo, and it didn't work the first time. So I came up. I tried to do it a second time, and on the second time is when I came up for the sweep. And it's pretty much the same setup I did for Felipe, but Felipe's was more him forcing me into that position, and I fell right into it. And yeah.
Did that win over Keenan give you like a burst of confidence, like something that made you feel like, okay, I can hang here at the black belt level, and give you a really strong boost mentally for going forward?
Yeah, it helped me a lot mentally. It helped me feel a little more confident about myself, that I can keep up with the big boys at the black belt, and keep evolving. Because if I'm 19 and Keenan was my first fight, then statistically, I hope that I can keep growing and get farther up within a year or less.
Dude, you're still only 19?
Yeah,
When do you turn 20?
May 19.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Super young. And, I mean, you choked somebody else besides Felipe Andrew, somebody who might not be as well known, but you choked Iago there, too. Iago de Souza's a very tough opponent, man.
Yeah, it was. I was ready for a war too. He's really strong.
So you got another match coming up. This weekend. Is it Friday or Saturday that you got Hulk?
Yeah, Friday. Friday I have Hulk, and then Sunday I have Houston Open.
Wait a minute. Wait, you're fighting Hulk Friday night and you're still doing the Houston Open?
Yeah,
Getting it in. All right. So what are you thinking about this Hulk matchup? I mean, this will be your first time with a black belt world champion. Obviously, Felipe and Keenan are no joke, but Hulk's a legit. He's a black belt gi world champion. What are you thinking about this one?
I feel good. I feel excited. I just need to go in and do my game plan, which is don't stop until the end. I know Hulk is an explosive guy, but I can honestly say I feel my technique is more smooth. So maybe that could decide the fight for us. The technique and the cardio. So I hope to do my best, but everything's gonna be decided that night.
This is, of course, taking place at Fight to Win 137 in Denver. Fight to Win has a unique rule set. Are you going to change the way you play at all? It's submission only. The submission attacks are heavily weighted in case of a decision. Does that change your mentality going in at all?
I mean, I think every match is submission only for Roberto.
That is true.
Besides Keenan, Roberto basically never wins on points. It's either submission or. So I don't think. Is it going to change things for you, a submission only match, Roberto?
No, like you said, it's like Gordon's a perfect example. Wherever he goes, he's looking for the submission as well. Even his fight against Sex Johnson and Substars, he did like a little intro to his DVD, just passing Tex guard like 3-4 times the same way, but always just looking for the submission. It didn't work, and he would do it again. If you were like paying attention, you could notice that he was setting up the head and arm, and if it didn't work, he would do the pass again. It's exhausting to recover your guard from a big guy like that. But yeah, my goal is just to submit, even if I'm down on points. Like Buchecha 2013 or 2012, I'm sorry, was the best world's comeback in the history of jiu-jitsu. Like down by points, 15 seconds left, and he takes down Leonardo Nogueira, mounts, and wins the absolute world championship in like 15 second span. So you always have time, even if it's points, you always have time to like keep fighting. So if instead of points, you can go for the submission, or you can finalize the fight with the points. But he's a perfect example. Just keep fighting and look for the dominance. Yeah. Sorry, I just kept on thinking about Buchecha and Gordon and submissions.
Bear, you've been quiet for a while. What are you thinking about Roberto matching up with Hulk in this sub-only match?
No, I think Ricardo. Not Ricardo. Ricardo is not going to match up well versus Hulk, but Roberto. I think Roberto matches up well with a lot of guys. I think what a lot of people underestimate. Roberto's like, if you watch Roberto over like a period of time, you see like his back take is really, really, really good. And if you turn your shoulder just a little bit and he's on your back, you're kind of in a really, really bad spot. And that with kind of having a really, really good strategy with the berimbolo and using it to come up I think he's a really, really bad matchup for a lot of people. And I kind of like put his game very similar to like Felipe Pena, whereas like once they're always looking for the back, and once they always look for the back. And I think the biggest difference is probably Roberto's Berimbolo strategy to get in and out, along with having a really good back take. Makes him a really, really bad matchup for a lot of people. And I think that's what we're going to see in the black belt side is he's going to be beating a lot of people that we're not accustomed to see losing, because not many people are playing at Roberto's weight or heavier with that strategy. So I'm excited. I think he matches up really well. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if Roberto wins, to be honest. So.
Thank you.
What are you thinking, Ricardo? Roberto versus Hulk this weekend.
You know, the thing is, it's a tough match. Hulk is a gamer. Hulk's a beast. He's the Hulk. But what a lot of people, I mean, some people I think don't understand about Roberto is, even though he's a new black belt, he has a ton of experience competing against, a lot of the high level people in his division for a long time. Like I remember seeing Roberto like in 2013, little kid in the warm up area, warming up with like arm drag to single leg to back take like I've never seen before. I was like, holy, who's this kid? And then his dad, Raul, comes up to me and says, Ricardo, my terrible Raul impression, he's like, you watch my kid. He's going to be something one day, I tell you. And man, since that day, I've just been watching his career. Please don't kill me, Raul. And I've been watching his career, and Roberto's just been like, just been on a tear. They called him Blue Shesha. I don't know what they called him at Purple, and at Brown he dominated. So, man, like, it's a tough match, but if I'm not a betting man, but I'm going to bet that it's going to be a tough match, right? It's going to be a good one, and I think Roberto has just as good a chance as anyone to upset the Hulk, but you better be ready, Roberto. You better cross your T's and dot your I's in that matchup, and I think you want this match, especially because it's against the Hulk. You know what I mean? I can't wait to see it. It's another good match. I'm always excited for
Ricardo.
to watch
Ricardo, did you just pick again a draw for the 76th time? I was just wondering who you're gonna pick, Luke. Are you gonna pick Hulk or Roberto? I mean, I can make a decision, but I just wondering if that's your 675th draw that you're.
So
gonna pick
I think. No. I think like if it goes to a decision, which it that's how the fight to win criteria is. Roberto could absolutely win because stylistically your style fits the fight to win module, like attack, right? Hulk's a little bit more strategic, but like I said, you gotta cross your T's, dot those I's, because one little hole and Hulk's gonna try to capitalize. So I think it's gonna be a great match.
You rapping? Was that a rap right there?
He's rapping his way out of the situation.
Roberto,
I've been watching too much of that Wu-Tang documentary on Hulu, and now I think everything's a rap game out here. I'm gonna tear up the game, just like I'm gonna tear up Barra, who's number 3.
All right,
Uncle Ricky coming in hot.
Roberto, do you prefer submission-only rules? I mean, obviously you're very successful in IBJJF and everything, but do you like submission-only rules more, considering you're a guy who's always after the submission?
I don't care, honestly. I just want to fight.
Yeah.
It can be submission only. I'm not gonna lie. My view on it is, it's amazing because you have an opportunity to actually make a living with it. You get paid for what you're fighting. Whether for IBJJF, it's the rule. It's the federation that we follow for us to grow with our, with career. Our titles come from IBJJF for the most part. If you're a gi competitor, so it kind of sucks not to be able to get paid for those titles, especially if we're living out of the jiu-jitsu. Our sponsors help us out, but in reality, I think so. When I was growing up, I would look at Bushesha's salary for the tournaments, ADCC, World Pro, plus seminars, and maybe some events. He was making enough money to live, and that's when I was decided in my head around 13 or 12. I was like, if I do this right, I can actually make a living and live a really nice life, which is train, eat, teach, travel, surf, but submission only I see is giving you that opportunity of living out of the tournaments. In the gi, you don't get that much opportunity in the submission only because there's not so many submission only gi events. I like the submission only because it's opening up a new door for people to live out of jiu-jitsu. I think it's the best to do both gi and no gi, but we've obviously seen an evolution of the sport where people want to live out of jiu-jitsu. They love the sport, and if you can do better on one side and you see more opportunity there, then go for it. Don't hate on that. Uh, you're trying to make a living and provide for yourself and your family. So if you can do it with no gi or gi or whatever you can, go for it. Yeah, I like submission.
Roberto, sorry, Roberto, I got a question for you. You've fought in a lot of different, rule sets and formats. What's your favorite or your ideal format that you like to compete in? Like you've done ADCC trials, you did Substars, that's apparently gone now, and you've done a lot of other events. Like what's your favorite? 20 minutes.
I think Metamoris, the rule set that Metamoris had was awesome. 20-minute matches with submission only. If I could do something like that in the future, I would love to.
Hey, so
why is that? Why the 20 minutes?
Because you have 20 minutes and you have to have good cardio and you have to have good technique to go against somebody high level for 20 minutes. So if you train hard enough for that training camp, you're ready to go out the whole 20 minutes. You should be able to do at least one 20-minute match 100% the whole time. And in training, like I remember doing 2 hours of extra training and not looking at the timer when I was like 15 in Texas. So 20 minutes should not be that hard if it's only one match. That's why whenever you get to the final, you only have a super fight. You have to give 100% because you only have one match. There's no need to like hold back. There's not gonna be any points or any or anything to stop you. You don't have to worry about any other matches. You don't have to worry about anybody else. You have one guy. You have a time set. And you have to just beat him within that time set. And I think that's the best. That's like the closest you get to, I guess, an MMA fight in jiu-jitsu, I think.
All right, so if you could have a 20-minute match with anybody, who would you want right now? If we could make that happen for you.
I don't know, honestly. It's hard. I grew up watching all these guys, and I'm competing against some of them, so it feels very disrespectful to call out on them. But
yeah, I mean, well, at your weight class, there's a lot of big names out there.
Andrew Lower Kainan, if I can, in the next months or in the next year or so.
Low would be probably
Low would be fire.
Low would be the big one, right? Because everybody. I mean, I'm sure you grew up idolizing Low, like a lot of people from your generation. Low would be a great one. Kainan would be a great one.
I gotta ask, Roberto. I mean, you're black belt now. You do the absolute a lot. Would you have a match with Buchecha at Worlds?
Man, if I have to, I have to. But that's my hero. That's literally. I have to give him credit every time. I'm going to fanboy every time I see him. Because if it wasn't for his highlights and his interviews and everything that I saw through YouTube around 12 and 13 years old, I would not be where I am right now. Like, I get so excited about talking about Buchecha because he's my hero, man. I have to give him thanks for motivating me as a kid and wanting me to live out of jiu-jitsu and wanting to pursue a dream. He's the best. I would have to fight him, but I'm sure we can make the best fight.
Oh man, that's the match I want to see. Then I want to see that one.
Yeah, Roberto versus his hero. I didn't realize. I mean, obviously you had as a juvenile, you had that nickname Blue Checha. I didn't realize that Buchecha was always your hero all this time too. So what is it about Buchecha, about Marcus that inspires you? Like, what is it? Like his style of jiu-jitsu? What do you like about him?
His style, his demeanor. He's like a very easygoing, friendly guy. And his lifestyle, just seeing the way he was living his life, he seemed like he was just flowing through life, which is like a form of art almost, I think, just going with it. And seeing him dominate and being such a big guy and doing he used to do berimbolos as a ultra heavyweight in Abu Dhabi trials throughout his beginning of BJJ career. And I thought that was crazy. That's where I started seeing like big guys do berimbolos. I remember him doing a berimbolo on this really, really big guy, like the guy that Mikey fought at Europeans, like that kind of size. And he did it, and he came up on top and to the back. I'm like, what the fuck? Like like a really big guy doing a berimbolo. And seeing him travel everywhere, being able to go to different parts of the world, teach jiu-jitsu and compete in every part of the world. Like, I feel like anyone who's my age, younger, or just a little older can relate to that. That's one of the things that brought them into wanting to pursue jiu-jitsu as a career. Being able to meet new people, to learn new cultures, and expand your knowledge, not only jiu-jitsu, but in real life. So that's what
Hey,
caught my eye about Bushesha. Like,
I
wanting
got
to
a
have-
question for you, Roberto. Sorry to interrupt you. I got a question for you. So it's like a story and a question mixed up. Okay. So as a kid, when I was growing up, watching all the old guys like Margarita, Terere, I used to idolize these guys, and I would like roll and pretend like, oh man, today I'm Margarita. I'm gonna do collar sleeve, arm, collar drag, knee cut, and baseball. I'd get tapped, but I would try that, And then I remember like having a conversation with Jimenez, and I was telling him, about idolizing and trying to emulate your idols, and his answer was like, yeah, we did the same thing, but we tried to beat them. You know what I mean? So his whole like thing was, instead of idolizing, he was looking at the idols, and he was actually like discovering ways how to defeat them in a respectful way. So what do you do when you look at some of the guys like Bushesha or the other legends of our sport? Do you idolize and emulate, or do you evaluate their game to try to defeat them one day? And in a respectful way. I'm not trying to say, you want to call out anyone. I'm just technically.
Man,
Tough one, right?
yeah, I think I would have. I think subconsciously I would have. I've been doing the same thing. I haven't really thought about it like that. That I haven't really fully thought of it that way. But you kind of defined what I thought of as a kid. Maybe not so much at the beginning, but as I started competing in IBJJF and started thinking like, man, I'm here on the same mats now, so maybe one day I can make it over there too. I would start looking at the highlights a little differently. That's where I started forming my game, I think, because I would start copying everything that they would do. Marcelo Garcia, Mafasini, Buchecha, Rodolfo Vieira, Leandro Lo, Lucas, like everybody I was watching, I was trying to copy their technique. Like you said, I was Buchecha one day and Mafasini the other and Leandro the other in training. But you can't be that. Keenan said it one time in one of Stuart Cooper's films, I think. He's like, he tried to do the same thing with Leandro Lo, try to have Leandro's Toreando, but you can't have Leandro's Toreando. That's Leandro's. You can be inspired by it, and maybe a fire sparks up because of seeing his fire, but you have to create your own. You have to find your own version of that. And I think that's how you study highlights.
Roberto, your double gold performance, I believe, gives you enough points to register for Pans. Are we going to see you there this year?
Yes, that's why I went for Kansas.
There we go. That's fantastic, because I feel like you've taken some super fights, you've done an open, but Pans will be your first IBJJF major as a black belt. That has to be like really, really exciting. Are you looking forward to that?
Yeah, I'm super excited for that one. My first Pan Ams as a black belt. It's like I feel like a little kid.
Are we going to see you in the heavyweight division? Where might you land there?
Heavyweight.
Okay, so you got names like Patrick Gaudio, Jackson Souza, Adam Wardzinski, Tim Spriggs. I mean, that's murderer's row right there. And
I'm pretty sure Keenan and Lowe are both going to jump in there too.
Keenan and Leandro could be in that.
It's going to be a hell of a division, man.
And Mikey in the open.
Yeah. Our plan is to hopefully close the open out if everything goes well. But
that would be an insane bracket. I'm looking forward to Pans. There's so many interesting storylines going on here.
Yeah, everybody. That's a tough. I mean, especially you got Trator, Gaudio, Jackson, Wardzinski, Arnoldo Maidana, Spriggs, Tex Johnson. If Keenan and Lowe jump in there, it's going to be and Roberto. That's going to be a crazy heavyweight bracket. That's going to be a hell of a run. It's going to take to get through there. Yeah, man. So you and Mikey would close out if you met in the open class. That's your guys' plan?
Yeah, that's our plan for Pan Ams. Absolute.
Man, that would be something, huh?
I can't wait. I'm so excited.
Him and Mikey make their way. All right, so we're talking about heavyweight. I won't reveal your secret, but you're a pretty light heavyweight. I won't say the exact amount, but when I checked your weight at who's number one, I just looked down and I looked up at you confused, and you go, yeah, I just like to eat, so I do heavyweight. Are you planning on getting any bigger? Or are you just gonna stay that size, so like for these absolutes and everything at black belt? What are you thinking?
I don't stress about weight. I want to get bigger. My goal is to get big enough to where I can be like Bushesha one day. But
Ultra heavy, Roberto.
what can I do about my genes?
Don't
I
do
have a
that to
fast
him. That'll be unfair.
metabolism. But yeah, my weight fluctuates a lot. So the heaviest I've been, for example, this month was 193 without the gi. So I think something about the day of the tournament, I sweat a lot. My hands are sweaty. I don't know if you can see, but I have a sweat stain on my shirt. Um, I'm just constantly sweaty. So I think the closer I get to the tournament, the more that happens, and I start losing more weight the day of. I don't know why. I have a weird body, but I'll go between 180-ish, 185, that area, all the way up until like 195, and depending on how much like weights I do, I'll be heavier. But I've noticed uh, weights. I don't like lifting so much anymore. At 17, I got up to almost 200 with the gi sometimes, but I was lifting every day with my dad, and I felt too stiff. I think once to three times a week of lifting is good. My KP tells me to do 3 times a week, but he's gonna kill me. Fuck. I didn't think that too. He's gonna. He tells me to do 3 times a week, but sometimes I feel like my muscle mass just expands. Like I grow very fast, so if I lift too much, I feel too stiff. I'm trying to find a recipe to grow little by little up until I get old enough and my testosterone grows naturally and I start. I'm only 19, so I'm hoping I can be at least 220 by the time I'm 25. You know.
That's a terrifying thought. Roberto, you mentioned a little bit earlier in the show that you haven't really done a camp longer than 3 weeks. What does a
Yeah.
camp look like for you? I mean, what's different? Because I imagine you're training every day right now. What's a camp for you?
For example, the last 3 weeks, last 2 3 weeks, even for Keenan, I was teaching all week and training. So a camp for me would be getting just to train and lift and focus on me, and that's it. Like on a daily basis, if I'm in Vegas, I'm teaching at least 2 to 3 classes and then training and then finding time to do lifting. If my dad's out of town like he was the last 2 or 3 weeks, I have to stay here, fly out on Friday or as soon as I can before the tournament, compete, come back and teach Monday again and train. So a camp for me would be anything between 2 to 3 weeks of just training and not doing anything else besides that. I hope I can do that more as we're growing the academy. I'm happy to be able to like be with my parents, but I'm also trying to grow myself and train more and do proper camps so that I can accomplish the goals I'm looking for. So hopefully this next year and well, from here on to through my DJ career, I can do longer camps of at least a month or 8 to 12 weeks. It's I think the best way to do a Worlds or ADCC camp. I heard this from Gordon Ryan, and I really like surprising. 12 weeks is a long time to do a camp, and I can see why they evolve so fast.
Yeah, you train with them sometimes, don't you? When you go out to New York, don't you drop in and train with Gordon and those guys?
Yeah, I like the vibe there. It's very professional, but also laid back to where everybody's just doing their thing and just trying to be as best as they can. It's I like it. It's good training. Everybody's pushing each other, and there's no. I haven't seen any drama, and that's good.
Who you rolling with when you go over there?
Gordon and whoever's there for training. Nikki too. I didn't get to train with Nikki so much since ADCC because he was focused for his weight class. He's a monster though. And Gordon is just so good, man. He's big and technical. It's hard to train with him, but it's a good flow. He knows how to roll with anyone, I think. So it's beneficial for me as well.
You ever come across Nicky Rod over there, getting any rounds in with him?
No, I never got to train with him. I met him for at Sub Stars for the first time, and he's a pretty cool guy. He looks aggressive in the tournaments, so for sure it'd be fun to train with him one day.
What's it like with Danaher when Danaher's teaching? Like,
Man, he's like what's his name? Gandalf. It's like Gandalf but great. It's crazy. He's very, very smart, and the way he shows the technique kind of forces you to want to do it right, because he does it maybe once or twice or 2 to 3 times, shows it, and then you have to do it. He doesn't like dwell too much time into explaining. He explains it so well, like in the moment that he's doing it, and it's a little span of time that you see the technique. So I don't know. He has a good way of pushing you to want to do the technique right. He has a good mind game, so showing technique.
I've only had a chance to film there, I think twice now, but I did notice both times I was in the blue basement that the classes are pretty structured. I mean, there's like a rigorous drilling section in the beginning, and then the technique, and then of course rolling. But I feel like you were mentioning, like John is very specific and has his athletes do very specific things. Did you like that environment, like the very narrow focus, like the hyper focus on certain techniques?
Yeah.
Gotcha. Because it's a lot different than a lot of gyms, I think.
Yeah, it felt more like fun studying, you know. I don't like to study, whether it be school or jiu-jitsu, but there I felt like I was studying without trying, and that was good. I like that a lot.
Are we going to see you ADCC 2021? Is that in your plans?
That's the plan. Hopefully I can get in. If not, I'll have to do the trials, and that's the next step to ADCC.
Yeah, obviously a very good Nogi competitor. You've won Nogi Worlds and or Nogi Pans and stuff at the color belts. So let's go back a little bit to I think something that's very underrated about you. Everybody knows you get to the back from anywhere, but I think you're one of the underrated Berimbolo guys out there right now. Your Berimbolo is very strong, man. Everybody talks about the Vikings, about the Meows, about Levi. I think you got to be a top 5 Berimbolo guy out there. I mean, you just did to Felipe Andrew. You swept Keenan with it. Talk about your Berimbolo game, and you said Mikey helps you out. Just explain this a little bit. What's going on with you and Mikey out there?
Excuse me. Mikey has the best Berimbolo I've seen. So if I can compare mine, like if I can do something to anyone else, I feel happy because he does it to me all the time. If I can defend like at least a couple turns off the Berimbolo on him, then I feel like for sure nobody can Berimbolo me in the tournament. So I used to do Berimbolo a lot as a kid, and I stopped when I started doing wrestling for like 2 years in high school. Those were the 2 years that I was in public school. Last 2 years I was in public school in high school, and I hated it, but it changed my game because I would pull guard and do the Marcelo Garcia push from open guard in wrestling. I would sit down and push them. Coaches would get really pissed off at me, like, "What are you doing? Points?" And I'm like, "No, just wait. Let me do this." And I would do crazy funk wrestling. But once I left high school, my game changed to takedowns, collar drags, wanting to take the back and pass. And before, as a little like 12, 13, 14-year-old, I would do Berimbolo dives. And I didn't try to do that again up until I came to Vegas to train with Mikey. And I could feel like his Berimbolo. And I said, no way, this is really good. I have to try it again. So I've always liked Berimbolo. So I used to watch the Rutolo twins and Meows all the time. And I would the Rutolo twins honestly are one of the videos that I saw before Bushesha that got me back into like wanting to be jiu-jitsu 100%. So the Rutolos, shout out to them because they inspired me a lot too to grow up. And their Berimbolos are sick. So around 12, 13 years old, I saw their videos and I said, I want to try to be like these kids too.
So that's pretty interesting. You're inspired by the Rutolos who are actually younger than you, a couple years younger than you.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Mikey,
hey, Mike.
Yeah, what's up?
Mike, but just to talk on what Roberto said, he was like, he brought up a pretty interesting point on like stuff we talked about in past week's shows where it's like you have you have these guys, Roberto, Rotolos, they've all trained since they've been like, 10, 8, 11 years old. So they've progressed in the sport and this time for such a long period of time. And you see them competing against like adults now, right? And I think like back in 2016, somewhere around then, Roberto competed as a blue belt. And then we had an open belt tournament and he was able to fight the winner of the higher belt. So he fought Gutenberg when he was only a 16-year-old, in Royal, and him and Andrew Wilstrom Padigo from He School, they met in the finals. So it's like, but the point is to see from 2016 to 2020, We're seeing this progression of kids training for a long period of time. Let's call it 6 to 10 years, and now they're black belts fighting adults. But realistically, probably Roberto was fighting at a black belt level at blue to purple belt. So the question goes back to Roberto, just to kind of dive into the same thing we talked about. Roberto, do you think like nowadays with kids training so young, from it start from like high level kids, right? From like 8 to 10, do you think it's if they're allowed, do you think they should be able to compete with people black belts or black belt level guys, as long as they can hang and they can perform? How do you feel about that?
I think they should, but respectfully. So I remember I didn't. Um, I think the Rutolos are maybe like, because they're so nice and their vibe is really good. They get the opportunity to fight Dante Leon, for example. Which is amazing. I think that's really good for him because he's gonna know what level that is really early, and that's a big boost mentally in your game as well. I think you should be able to fight black belts, but respectfully. So if you earn it, you earn it in a fight. I don't think you should really look for them in super fights. Like I don't remember doing that, but at the same way, every generation evolves, and they look at it differently. So maybe it's just a new generation coming in and wanting to expand in a different way by challenging higher belts. I also think you need to respect and try to see it in everybody's perception of how this is going to be taken. Just like when I outed the steroids thing, I kind of had to just go with my gut and understand that this is what I want to do. Like this is the word I want to spread. But I think kids should be able to fight black belts maybe more in local tournaments so that they can feel the level out and then move up. But I don't know. It really depends on the kid. Like Rutolo and Dante was a good matchup. You said they went all the way and Dante beat I'm not
Ty.
sure who.
Tie by decision. Yeah.
By decision. You see,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Ty beat Wagner.
And Ty beat Wagner. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for sure, I think that they should be able to fight them. They just need to earn it. Like I think the Rutolos definitely earned it. And they're you can tell that they're natural kids, that they're going the right way. They're training. They're just living a lifestyle and they're good. They bring a good energy. I like that. So what you give, you get. So I think they're on a good path. They're awesome. They're very inspiring. And if you are trying to fight black belts, you should look at who is fighting black belts and see what they're doing.
Yeah.
I gotta
How-
ask
how-
Roberto, as a elite youth competitor, as we mentioned many times, you had a lot of hype behind you. People called you Blue Shesha. At what point did you ever start thinking like I could beat black belts? I know you were winning some local competitions where they combined divisions and stuff like that. Was that kind of frustrating too? You're like, man, I can beat these black belts even if I am 15, 16. What was that like at that period?
It was more learning because I would beat a black belt, but then again, it's not a big tournament, so just you can beat anyone. But I think I don't know, man. Honestly, I want to beat everybody, but I also want to beat everybody at the big tournaments. What's better to win worlds and not really know who are the people you fought, or to win worlds and have like the toughest guys in every other fight, and you got recognized that year for winning weight and absolute and beating everybody like Ushesha. I'm sorry, I sidetracked. What was the question?
I was just thinking, when you were a teenager and you were beating black belts and you weren't able to move up in rank, if you were frustrated by that. But it sounds like what you're saying is you just took it as experience and you just were building
Exactly.
your
It
legacy.
was all experience. You can't get frustrated. Anything, a loss or a win, you can't get frustrated. It's gonna be hard to fight your subconscious on that when you lose, because it's natural just to feel sad. It's like when you lose a toy as a kid, you're gonna feel sad. Um, but it's all experience. You can't dwell on the past. It happened, and what you can do is just learn from it and move on to the next and hope for the best. So even if you are getting fights with black belts at local tournaments or small tournaments or super fights that are not well known, you're getting experience. Just trust the process. You know, everything's gonna be proven. The proven ground is whenever you get to black belt and you get to showcase at Pan Am's, at Worlds, at ADCC, at who's number one, the fight to win. You know, those are the places you showcase your work throughout the years. So if you're a kid and you're frustrated because you're doing good, but also you can't showcase against the highest level, just be patient. You'll be there. Keep working hard so that you can get there as fast as you can, but there's no rush. That's what I felt the last 2 3 years. Like I want to get there. I want to get there. I want to get there. Now I'm here, and it feels like wow. I'm happy. I had people tell me, just relax, keep training. You're gonna get there. Don't stress over it.
I
It's
gotta
almost
say,
like you want to slap them. Calm down.
I gotta say, from my point of view, there's sort of an epidemic with people calling out black belts right now. I just
I
cut
saw that. Yeah.
I just cut color belts out of the next who's number one because I got so sick. Everybody I'm mentioning, who do you want in this match? There's guys who didn't even win Euros at purple and brown belt who are telling me they want a black belt world champion for their match. Like, what are you talking about?
No, Mike. I think Roberto's hit it right on the thing, right? And you're saying too, like we're not saying like okay, every lower belt call out, like,
Yeah.
a higher belt, like because you tapped a black belt in training. That's not what we're trying to promote. And I think Roberto said it right. If you earn it, if the promotion or if the event thinks you're worthy, they're probably going to call you, right? But if you're just a little guy winning like a little local open or something, and you tap out a black belt in training, that's completely different than you
Do it like
murdering
Tyro
every single
Tolo.
division for like 5 years.
Do it like
exactly.
Do it Tyro Tolo. I mean, he earned it the hard way. He got it. He went to ADCC trials, got invited to ADCC, went there and showed up, made it. Broke Paulo Miao's leg. I mean, at that point, yeah, the black belt fights are going to come.
But you notice that's Nogi. He's excelling in Nogi, and
Yeah.
he's respecting the fact that that's a different face of Jiu-Jitsu now. So
Yeah.
he's able to do that, just like Nicky did as he was growing up. Nicky Ryan, he was the first, I think, to be able to do that in Nogi. So, and he's respecting his side of Jiu-Jitsu and the gi as well. That's why he had to fight with Moicano at a purple belt. It was an awesome fight. Yeah.
Roberto,
I
what?
think you just need to
And
Roberto, what
no,
do
and,
you
and,
think?
no,
All right,
go
go ahead,
go
man.
into Roberto. Go. No, go ahead. Go into Roberto.
All right, Roberto, what did you think? Because we already talked about this. I want to hear your opinion because you go way back with these guys. We already talked about the Royal and everything. What did you think about that Daisy Fresh film that just came out? Because you used to fight those guys at Blue Belt and everything. You used to fight George. You used to fight Andrew. All these guys.
Man, I saw them at Kansas Open this weekend. I didn't get to talk to them that much because I was with my friends from Vegas and they were competing as well. But I have to thank Andrew so much. He was like the first wall that kind of hit me in the face and said, "Hey, you still have a long way to go, bro." I remember him killing me in like 30 seconds when I was 14 or 13, and thinking, man, what the fuck? I need
Yeah,
to
he
get
did the same
better.
thing to me at White Belt. Yeah, White Belt I came across him
Yeah.
at a tournament in Kentucky, and he just absolutely murdered me. And I was like, what? Yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
That'll happen when you meet Andrew Wiltsey sometimes.
But the thing that stood out the most about Andrew, not only is he a monster, but he's genuine. He's a nice guy, and he just wants to be he wants to be good. You can feel his energy of like pure essence, just jujitsu, trying to survive, and it's beautiful to see him a black belt, and we're still on the route. We're still on the journey. We're growing. Man, I'm so happy for them. If you guys, anyone out there that can throw some help at them, go for it. Whatever that you can, they'll appreciate it. And
Panda Express gift cards always
Panda
welcome.
Express, send it out.
my next best gift cards. Yeah, I really like those guys. I hope I can visit them one day and train over there for a little bit just to have fun and vibe out. But yeah, I'm happy for them. The documentary was awesome. That was a good job on the documentary, and I hope to see them grow and hope the best for them, man.
Hey, Roberto, I got a question for you. I remember talking to your dad back in the day, and he was telling me that his jiu-jitsu journey actually started out with him being a shoot box guy and,
Yeah.
fighting jiu-jitsu guys. Like, I remember he fought Soluso, didn't he? And then ended up hooking up with Soluso in Alliance. So what do you think your life would be like right now if your dad were to continue a shoot box? Would you be a kickboxer, MMA fighter, or do you think jiu-jitsu you would have found your way into jiu-jitsu one day?
I liked Muay Thai more than I liked Jiu-Jitsu growing up. I thought if I was going to do anything, it would be Muay Thai or MMA. And then I saw Bushesha and I got into Jiu-Jitsu. But, man, I thought about that for a little bit. I'm thinking about maybe even trying to start training Muay Thai again for cardio. Because if you don't use it, you lose it. And I like Muay Thai. So if I can just keep that wheel spinning and everything goes well, I can get my titles in Jiu-Jitsu. Depending on how things go, maybe one day I'll be able to go into MMA. But I won't do it unless I'm really certain about, I can do this and I can go all the way. Yeah, I maybe if it wasn't for going 100% into Jiu-Jitsu the last couple of years, I might be in MMA, maybe in the UFC. I don't know.
You still got a lot of time. You're only 19 years old, so
Yeah, so that's why I want to start training Muay Thai just as a means of cardio. If you ever train Muay Thai, man, it's like sprinting in one place. It's really cool, and being able to defend yourself also. Not that you'll have to it's life. You want to be able to just be comfortable anywhere you are in the world, and I would like to just be ready if I'm able to in the future to go into MMA.
Well, on behalf of the entire jiu-jitsu community and most especially your mom, please shelf that Muay Thai and MMA ambition for the time being until after your jiu-jitsu career is done, because we want to see this long career as you have black belt, and we want to see what the legend of Roberto Jimenez is going to play out like. So let's just put those aspirations on the shelf for a little bit. Put it in the shelf behind Bear over there in California, and then we'll cross that bridge in about 20 years, please.
All right, we're running low on time. Before we go, I want to do Ricardo's favorite thing. I want to make some picks. What do you think, Barry? You want to call some shots?
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Who's number one card? Let's go through the 5 fights. It'll be awkward for Roberto because he's one. But
say the 5. Right. Say the 5. I'll give the picks, and I'll do Ricardo's also. I'll do Ricardo's. Right. I already know what he's gonna pick, so I'll do his.
Let's start off, Bear. What do you got for Andressa Sintra versus Luana Alzaguir? Two world champs from different eras. First one.
Luana.
All right. Is Luana a show-your-old athlete?
That's one.
Is
I'm a little biased, and I'll say I'll admit to that.
A little bit, man. Come on, son. Luana has been out of the game for a while. Andressa is tearing it up. Come on, son. Be real.
Ricardo
here.
With the pick. Look at this.
Ricardo, you picking Andressa? We got it out of you.
I told you. I'm bringing the heat today. Roberto's pumped up talking about angels and demons. We're going ready to go.
I inspired him. I inspired him to not pick any draws anymore.
All right,
no. I got no dog in this fight. I can name names now.
Second match of the night.
Who's the next one?
We got Roberto Jimenez versus Jake Watson.
Jake's a nice guy with good jiu-jitsu, but I'm giving it to Roberto. Who's next?
Okay, what's Ricardo's pick for that one? Jake's listening, by the way. What's Ricardo's pick?
He's picking a draw. Easy. He picked a draw.
Listen. It's very rare that this happens, but I actually agree with Bear.
Shout out to Roberto's dog up there. Okay, so we got both guys going to Roberto.
I've never heard of this Roberto guy. I might lean towards Jake Watson.
Going with Jake Watson, okay. Third fight is going to be Manuel Hibamar versus Mateus Diniz, which is a good one. Hibamar just won Euros at that weight. Diniz is world's bronze medalist last year, I believe, at that weight. So what are you thinking, Bear? Who are you going with there?
What's the time limit?
It's 10 minutes.
Is it
you're gonna like that.
I think what Ibmar would be the favorite, but it's only one fight. I'm gonna give it to Mateus Diniz. Marcelo, shout out.
If it's a gi fight, right?
Gi fight, IBJJF. No holds barred.
Mateus Diniz, I love you, bro. I love you. Marcelo Garcia, shout out. But Manuel Hibamar, my man from Manaus, is gonna come with some lapel tricks for you. I'm going with Hibamar.
The Manaus homer pick again. Roberto, did you know that Ricardo is a secret Manaus native?
If I don't, my mother-in-law's gonna kill me. She listens to the podcast. She doesn't understand a thing. And when she hears Manaus, she wants to see my head go like this and say "sing." Okay,
Ricardo
so next match.
Ricardo is the #1 representative of Manaus in jiu-jitsu media these days. Next match would be. This is a good one.
Wait. I have to switch my pick. I didn't know that it was Gi, so I'm going with Manaus on that. I'm going with Hibmar.
Okay, double. Hey, Roberto, who you got there? Denise or Hibmar? You want to make a pick?
I gotta pick Hibamar as well.
Hibamar?
Hibamar is. I think for him it was more just wanting to fit right into the black belt where like he wants to, and I think Europeans was his debut of real Hibamar. So
yeah, he's turned a corner, right?
Yeah, man. I love Hiba, and he's grown a lot. Like he's older than me, but I feel like he's got the kid, that's the pure like kid energy.
Yeah,
so it's cool to be with him, and he's grown a lot, and he's doing good in life right now with Nati and I think San Antonio. So as life gets better, your game gets better too. I think so. Right now, Hibamar is gonna shine bright in black belt.
Yeah, I think Hibamar. Yeah. He's really. I mean, he won Nogi Worlds, he won Euros. He's really turned it on. Next one, the co-main event. This is two girls who are both ranked #1 in different weight classes. Actually, you got Baby Vieira, Ana Carolina Vieira, versus Nachieli, versus Hibmar's wife. Bear, what are you thinking about there?
Wow, that's a tough fight.
Dude, Anna's a savage, man.
I'll give it to. They're both really good, but I'll give it to Baby. That, in all honesty, I think that could be 50-50, but I'm gonna have to pick Baby.
I'm going with Nachieli because it's submission only, fight to win rules. Or wait, is it IBJJF or fight to win rules?
IBJJF.
Oh, okay. Fight to win rules, Nachi, IBJJF, Baby.
What
there
kind of pick? You just
pick both of them.
Who do you got if they fight in ADCC? What are they?
At Baby.
ADCC
Baby.
He's finding different ways to call draws now. That's how strategic he is.
No. Listen, Nachi's got a way more aggressive guard game that fits well for fight to win. I believe she beat Gabby Garcia. I know my stats. I know my data. So, yeah, exactly. And, I'm just, that's all I'm saying.
I'm waiting for the rap to start.
Nachieli
rapping his way out of this one.
Who you got in this one?
I'm leaning towards Nachieli.
Nachieli? I mean, she won the World's Open class last year. She's a solid pick.
Yeah, that's where my head's at. With
Roberto, who you going with there? Nachieli or Baby? This is a good fight, man.
No draws, Roberto. Bear will get mad.
I'm noticing that. Man, they're both monsters. I know Nachieli since I'm younger, and Baby has been tearing it up at that weight class.
Tough one.
It's a tough one. I think.
Do it, Roberto. Do it.
He said Nachi. He said Nachi.
Yeah.
He pulled the trigger.
Do it.
Yeah, I think I'll.
The size difference might come into play, and the experience of the weight and absolute. I don't know, man. I think Nachi has a little more experience, but Anna is also so good and dangerous, and it's gonna be fireworks. But I think Nachi's the one that I see winning.
I just realized I haven't made any. I'm going Andressa Sintra, Roberto. Sorry to my man Hibamar, I love you. I'm going to go Mateus Denise. I'm going to differ from everybody. Go Mateus Denise in that one. Hibamar, go back to middleweight. I think you belong there. Ooh. Even though he's a great medium
hot pick right there.
Heavyweight. But hey, Mateus Denise is big, man. He's a big dude. But Hibamar could beat him. I'll go with Nachieli there, beating Ana Carolina, the size difference. I mean, Nachieli's the absolute world champ. Now, on to the big one. Herbert Santos versus Mikey Musumeci. Chase, who's your pick?
Oh, man. Put me on the spot. I got to ride the wave, man. Team Mikey on this one. Let's see what Mikey can do. It's definitely not an easy task, though.
All right, we already know Bear's picking Herbert. Ricardo, what do you got there? You got Mikey, you got Herbert. Bear's obviously picking Mikey.
My prediction for that particular matchup of the evening will be Herbert Santos potentially losing his shit and Mikey taking his back and winning it.
How about the 180 on that prediction?
That was pretty good. That was pretty good.
Roberto, what are you thinking there?
Mikey.
Yeah, I mean,
fight. I hope Herbert doesn't pull anything, shitty. But I think it's gonna be a good fight. Maybe this can be his how do you say when you make it up for what you've done?
Redeem himself.
Redemption.
Yeah, it could be his redemption. Yeah, go out there and show some good jiu-jitsu. He's got good jiu-jitsu.
I
It
want
gets
to say one
overshadowed
thing,
by the other
guys.
stuff.
I want to say one thing, guys. I saw a lot of people on the Instagram of FloGrappling, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, this is a horrible match. Herbert this, blah blah blah." Man, Herbert, if the switch is on, that guy is nasty. Knee bars, he's got crazy throws. The dude tapped Bernardo Faria, the nicest man and the toughest man in jiu-jitsu, who's very excited every match. Man, if Herbert is on, that's going to be crazy. It was a huge honor for Bernardo to fight Herbert, but man, Herbert just took it to him. So that's a dangerous fight. Why would you not want to see a dangerous fight? For all you haters out there, man, this is going to be awesome.
And shout out to Mikey. I mean, dude, there's no other rooster weights that are going to take a fight with Herbert Santos. Mikey's got some balls on him. That's for sure.
Heavyweight.
Yeah. And these guys, too, like, I was talking with Mikey and Kyle, and I was like, hey, no matter what, I mean, it's win-win for you guys, this and that. And they like, got mad at me. They're like, no, we're going to win this thing. Like, we're not just going out there to try and show that, good jiu-jitsu against a big guy. Like, they want to beat the big guys. And I think with this one, if Mikey we know Herbert is a killer in the first couple minutes. He goes out there, he blitzes guys' guards, he jumps. I mean, how many great guys have we seen him just jump to mount on him like it shouldn't even work? Like you would think wouldn't even work past wipeout. He's done it to black belt world champions. But Mikey,
Felipe Pena.
Yeah, did to Felipe Pena, man. He beat up on Hamila one time, but Mikey's guard is, like Roberto said, with the tiny little legs and how good his technique is. I don't know if his guard's going to be passable. I think the only way Herbert is going to get this one is something that's underrated about him is his leg locks. He's got good knee bars. He's got good toe holds. I think Mikey's got to protect those legs. Something playing to his advantage is they're so short.
Be hard for Herbert to get in the right spot.
Smaller target. I think Mikey takes this one. I think Mikey's going to have more confidence after the Euros absolute. I think all five of us going for Mikey. We got to write these down so after the show, after the actual show happens, we can go back and see who made the right picks.
Guys, you guys even understand what's happening? You guys are all just saying a roosterweight is going to beat one of the most
unanimously
heavyweights of all. Like not like when in his heyday and when Herbert was at his peak, he was like up there top 5 in the absolute class. Like nobody wanted to face him, probably besides like Ushesh and Rodolfo. But like besides them, like he was smashing everybody. And all you guys are picking Mikey when everyone thought this was like a crazy thing before.
I think he took second in the absolute world final at one point to Buchecha. Yeah, it is crazy. That's the world we're living in these days. All right, guys. Thank you very much, Chase, Bear, Ricardo, Roberto. Hey, Roberto, thanks so much for calling in, man. Really looking forward to getting you on this event. Looking forward to see you this weekend on Fight to Win, Pans, everything. And, thanks, guys. Talk to you later. See you next week, same time.
Good day. Thank you.
Best show ever.
You say that every week. Hey, Roberto, thanks.
That was the best. That was the best episode ever. That's a good sign if I say it every week, man. It means we did a good job.
This thing with the call-ins is, we got to keep it going. Have people call in. It makes the